Good morning, basketball fans. Joining us from Canada's East Coast, Prince Edward Island, taking on Nova Scotia here at the 11:15 tip-off from the Durham College Gymnasium. Day 4 of the Canadian National Basketball Championships. J.J. Evanston in the building alongside Haley Hopkinson. Excited for this battle of the Maritimes. Prince Edward Island played yesterday, fell to Newfoundland 96-71, but in that game, both Noah Whitty and Will Holland played all 40 minutes. Is that going to impact them here in this contest against Nova Scotia, Haley?
Well, they do look ready to go, and despite them playing the whole game, not once did I think that they looked extremely gassed or anything like that. But PEI did get into some early foul trouble in that game, so I am assuming we won't see the same type of minutes from them. Of course, it was Owen Arsenault and it was David Knickel got in that foul trouble, but hopefully they stay a little more disciplined. It usually looked like it was when they were trying to go for those maybe unnecessary steals, being a little too aggressive. It catches the ref's attention right away. So I don't think we'll see the same minutes from them, but I mean, in warm-ups they looked great. They didn't look super gassed at the end of yesterday's game, so I think they'll be ready to go.
These two teams met on day 1 with Nova Scotia taking the victory 90-61 in that game. Noah Whitty had 23 points on 10 of 21 shooting from the field. But Prince Edward Island just couldn't handle the size of Van Ritchie inside the paint. He had 23 points to lead all scorers on Nova Scotia with 14 rebounds. So very dominant performances off the bench from Van Ritchie. Your officials for today are Turgut Karatop, Kevin Young, and Robert Shaw as we get underway. The first shot up from Mason McRae, who slides into the starting lineup because of that skill right there. He went 4 of 6 yesterday from beyond the arc off the bench, helping Nova Scotia stay in that tight battle against British Columbia.
Yeah, and majority of those threes came later in the game, so to start the game off on that note from McRae is spectacular.
The floater response from Sloan Campbell is good. Back and forth we go early in this contest. The pull-up from Brothers, no good. First rebound belongs to Cadence McLeod, who...
Yeah, he didn't have this start yesterday, but he still was one of the most impactful players on the court, being their highest scorer. So for him to get this start, it's going to be a massive difference maker for Nova Scotia, and PEI is going to have to adjust to not give him any space.
Can he go 3 for 3? He absolutely can. The scouting reports out. Get up in number 2's grill in white. So in the starting lineups for Nova Scotia, Mason McRae, Jesse Brothers. Joining those two is Nolan Yeo, Cadence McLeod, and Clark Dolan. On the other side for Prince Edward Island, obviously, Noah Whitty, Sloan Campbell, David Knickel, Owen Arsenault, and Will Holland. It's a 9-2 lead for the boys in white. Here's Campbell, willing himself to the rack, doesn't get it to go, and the third rebound already for McLeod. He finds McRae. McRae lays it in. Mason McRae just feeding off the energy of the Nova Scotia fans here. They've got about 30 strong right now.
Yeah, and a very quick 11 points just for him.
McLeod almost comes away with the steal. Early front runner for MVP of the tournament, Cadence McLeod, averaging a hair under a triple-double with the limited assists yesterday. British Columbia did a good job taking away that part of his game. There's a nail-biter finish, dump off over the top. Will Holland puts another 2 on the board for Prince Edward Island. The heat check no good, but the rebound and put back by Yo extends Nova Scotia's lead up to 9. And Whitty having a hard time getting over the timeline as he's picked up full court by Brothers. Brings it to the near wing. Gets to the rack. Rebound by Clark Dolan. And here comes McLeod into the front court. They've got numbers. Brothers for 3. And he wants to join in on the party.
Wow, well, early in this one for Nova Scotia, we're seeing a ton more ball movement than we saw yesterday. You can imagine that that was going to be one of their main focuses heading into practice. We saw McLeod taking a ton of the ball handling, but of course it ended up becoming a little too predictable, which ended up hurting them. So the ball movement, I'm loving it already.
In the first meeting between these two sides, Nova Scotia shot just 5 of 20 from beyond the arc as Yo sees another one through. It's an 18-4 lead. Just 3 minutes and 10 seconds gone in the game. And what a fire start for Nova Scotia. Haley, what can PEI do on the backside to take those good looks away from this Nova Scotia squad?
Well, they're going to have to be aware of the fact that Nova Scotia is looking for the extra pass right now. That definitely wasn't a presence in Nova Scotia's game yesterday. I can't imagine it was there in their first meeting as well. So they do a zone defense, but I think maybe moving to a man-to-man, if this lead kind of gets a little too carried away, it's going to be something they're going to want to look into.
Here's Campbell across the timeline as PEI gets another stop on the defensive side, looking to turn that into offensive points. Holland finds the roller. It's Arsenal. He's up and through.
Yeah, so he had a great game yesterday, but ended up getting into foul trouble a little too early in that one. So for him and Kaneko to stay disciplined in the first half of this game is going to be very important.
Shots off the mark from Yo. Whitty now over the timeline. Arsenal finds the back cut. Holland to the rack, fouled. And free throws upcoming for Will Holland. If you're watching on Canada Basketball's YouTube page, throw in the chat where you're from. Love to see where our viewership is from this morning. We're anticipating 99% being on the East Coast. And happy afternoon to those of you out there.
And like you were saying yesterday, Holland playing all the minutes in their game, and because of Arsenal's foul trouble, he really did kind of elevate his game a little bit more into really having those strong takes, driving to the net, having a bigger presence on this team. And we're already seeing it come through with a strong take there, sending him to the line.
And Holland makes it a 10-point game, nearly halfway through the first quarter. Another three, back iron into the hands of Whitty. We get our first look at Tate Van Ritchie and Anthony Waters checking in for Nova Scotia, alongside Liam Stowe and Finian McCormick. Peter Ford in there as well, so 5 in, 5 out for Stepjanovic's side. McCormick collects the rebound, hands it off to Stowe, who can't handle the pass, and it falls out of bounds. PEI now able to hopefully take advantage of another miscue from Nova Scotia. Inbound pass intended for Holland's knocked out of bounds. Ford doing a good job to prevent Holland from getting position.
Now we're seeing a great press here from Nova Scotia. We've seen them try to do it, but it never really has too much intensity. So trying to do it right off the bat when they have this lead, I think is a really strong move.
Whitty picked up by Waters. The floater from the mid-range, no good. Loose ball falls into the hands of Waters. He's looking left. And now Waters will settle things down at the top of the key. Wide open is Liam Stowe. He drives baseline, floats it up. A little too strong. Van Ritchie with the rebound. The turnaround and the right-handed hook shot. Good for Tate Van Ritchie. Again, he had a dominant performance in the first time these two sides met. 23 points, 14 boards, 9 of them coming on the offensive glass. Whitty dribbles it out of bounds. Nova Scotia basketball.
He's done a great job of giving Nova Scotia that edge when it comes to the second chance points. And when you have him as a threat in the paint, and then you have someone like McRae with the three-point shooting also as a threat, it's leaving PEI kind of scattered. So I really do think that going to a man-to-man coverage is going to be very beneficial to them.
Nova Scotia finds space inside that zone defense. Foul's going to be called, and it's going to be an offensive foul. Van Ritchie picks up the foul on the push, fighting for a position on the rebound. Stepjanovic, the head coach of Nova Scotia, looking for an explanation. Arsenal to trigger for Prince Edward Island on the side out. He gives it back to Moses Collins, who is a good on-ball defender. Got good ball handling skills as well. Kick ball, change of possession. And just some of the body language from the PEI players already looking a little bit deflated.
Right.
And it's way too early in a basketball game for that.
It's way too early, and it's also only a 12-point deficit for them right now. That's nothing. They've been able to come back from more and compete in these games. And I think already on both sides of the court here, we're seeing some elevated level of play. Both teams getting into some foul troubles early, sending their opponent to the line a ton yesterday early in these quarters. And only one team foul so far, so I think it's a good sign.
Moses Collins with the foul on the pass attempt. Waters with the three. It's not there. Collins has a laneway. Pulls it back, gives it to Whitty. Here's Arsenal, top of the key. Sets the screen. Whitty comes up top. Knickel, he can shoot it from distance. Good off-ball movement from PEI on that possession. Leads to an open lane for Owen Arsenal. Waters wasn't expecting the pass. Head coach had to tell him it was coming. And now it's Peter Ford pulling it out. Stowe, corner three. Make that from the wing, and it's good. And Nova Scotia shooting 5 of 9 from deep to start this contest. 3:30 left to go. Whitty waiting for some movement. Here's Knickel, top side, working to his right, gets in. The dump off to Arsenal, blocked on the backside by Ford. It's a 3-on-2. Ford takes it into the paint, gets all the way to the rack, off the glass, and good. 15-point lead, Nova Scotia. Get your ducks in order. Back cut. Interrupted by Liam Stowe. Well-timed cut by Moses Collins. Stowe stuck his hand out in desperation to deflect that out of bounds. Good switch. Pushes Whitty out beyond the perimeter. Turnover. Nova Scotia have numbers. Doesn't get the bounce. There to collect the rebound and put it back, Finian McCormick.
On that last play, Noah Whitty was not a part of having a slow time getting up after falling hard there.
It seems like the MO for Nova Scotia is to make life tough for Noah Whitty, and it's proving to be a positive right now. Ball intercepted, almost turned over, and then given right back on the save attempt. Arsenal gave it up, and Moses Collins comes back limping. Stowe accepts the pass inside, and it's 29-10 with 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter for the boys in white.
PEI definitely needs to get a little more movement or ball movement here. It seems like all they're really doing is, well, it worked for them on that one.
Yeah,
but
Knickel gets to the rack in the and one.
It's a good play there, but aside from that, the last previous possessions we've seen is just a 5-out offense, and they're usually giving it to Arsenal to just drive in, but Nova Scotia is doing a good job choking it out. Maybe would be some good looks as well, but fortunate to work out there for Knickel.
And Noah Whitty will check out.
Yeah, so that's already something that we didn't see yesterday.
Having a quick word with the head coach. Could be about the way he's playing when the ball's not going his way. Stowe with the floater from the mid-range is good. So Sloan Campbell checked back in at that last break here. Stowe again on the fast break. Off glass and through. Nova Scotia just absolutely dominating the first 10 minutes of this contest.
Absolutely, and you see PEI, you see the bench looking extremely deflated as well. Some positive reinforcement from the bench could do a lot for these starters who are obviously got off to not the greatest start because Nova Scotia just started so strong. It's not that PEI had a horrendous start here. It just didn't go in their favor, but they're looking a little deflated.
The steal by Collins, and the lay-in is good as well. Delay of game warning to Prince Edward Island. Collins touching the ball after going through the hoop. Next time it will be technical foul.
And Whitty's coming back into this game already, so maybe a quick word from the coach was all he needed to kind of start this comeback here early.
Well, let's see how he plays our remaining 42 seconds as Van Ritchie leaves it on the rim. Dribbles to the middle of the court, turns it over. Stowe on the run, 1-2, step it in the lane off the glass.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to have to be a big pep talk at this quarter break from head coach. With PEI, they're not
on the floor foul as Whitty gets around Waters.
Yeah, they're making some turnovers here, and it looks like a little lack of effort here. And of course, it's not a great feeling when McRae hits 3 threes in the first couple minutes of the game. Of course, not a great feeling there, but again, first quarter here. Looks like the attitude of PEI is not where it needs to be. It's a earlier day for them than yesterday, but I think a big pep talk is looming here.
Whitty for good on the first. The second falls through as well, 35-18. Nova Scotia can hold for the last possession. Stowe over the timeline, finds Ford. Back to Stowe, 5 seconds left. Stowe works left into the middle. Moving screen by Van Ritchie, turns the ball over. And really, you got to credit Moses Collins for the effort on the defense trying to get over top of that screen.
Oh, absolutely. He's been relentless and definitely what's keeping PEI going right now. He's not giving up on any play, which can't say the same for the rest of the starters right now.
One-handed heave, doesn't quite make it to the basket, and after 10 minutes of play, Nova Scotia ahead comfortably 35-18, but anything can happen. So we'll step aside for a quick quarter break and be back with second quarter action. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships live from Durham College on the Canadian Basketball YouTube page. Stay with us. Nova Scotia riding a wave of excellent shooting, 60% from the field, 10 of 16 from the painted area, and 5 of 9 from deep. 3 of those coming from the hands of Mason McRae, who has 11 alongside Liam Stowe's 11. He's been cooking in the paint. Prince Edward Island have an opportunity now here in the second quarter to really change their attitude towards this game. And get back before the halftime. Some adjustments that you'd like to see, Haley, for the boys in green.
Well, I think you hit it right away. The attitude didn't look the strongest, and I think what's going to have to improve is their defensive strategy as well. I really think a man-to-man coverage is going to do them well. They've got threats along the perimeter, and they have a ton of threats in the paint. A zone sometimes isn't going to do the trick, regardless if you have all 5 of your players collapse. I don't think it's enough, but one thing that is really going to help kickstart this defense is Hunter Steele coming into this game. We saw him yesterday come into the second quarter, I believe it was, and he really kind of turned things around, and I think that's exactly what they're going to need right now.
The type of 6 man every team needs. Energy, effort, positivity. The way he plays man-to-man defense is exceptional. That shot's off the mark by Arsenal. Rebound picked up by Brothers. Quickly to the front court to McLeod, who's got 3 rebounds and 6 assists. Make that 7 assists. And so British Columbia did a good job of taking that aspect of his game away, the playmaking, but he's shown it early in this contest. Still held scoreless. Hunter Steele with the take. Blocked from behind by Mason McRae. Josiah Johnson now into the front court. Hands it off to Brothers. Works into the paint, looking for the back cut pass to Ewan Gillis, and that's knocked out of bounds. It's going to stay Nova Scotia basketball.
Yesterday, Nova Scotia's inbounds play was not the strongest. It got better as it went on, but there we go.
Ewan Gillis gets the bucket and the foul and the quick inbound play there.
Yeah, and for McLeod, since you were saying yesterday they really took his shot away, not only was he able to kind of conquer that battle yesterday, he settled into that, of course, still trying for a ton of those takes that just were forcing some unnecessary turnovers. But now I feel like we're just seeing an elevated part of his game here because he's being more effective while not scoring than he was yesterday when that scoring was taken away from him early.
The ability to adapt to what the defense is giving you at this age is exceptional. And he should be all over Canada basketball's radar as an up-and-coming guard. The take from Holland into some contact, and he's going to go to the line for 2, running into the big Ewan Gillis. Holland looking for points 5 and 6 at the line to go with his 2 rebounds and 1 assist right now. In fact, Holland's the only player on Prince Edward Island with more than 1 rebound. Nova Scotia has doubled up PEI in that category, 16-8 so far. 20-point game. McLeod gives it up. Campbell realizes he doesn't have numbers and slows it down over the timeline. McLeod goes for the steal and gets it out on the run. It's just McLeod, and Arsenal comes back to change the trajectory of that shot. Foul on Campbell. Correction. Foul's going to go on Hunter Steele for contact on the arm. So it was a clean strip by Sloan Campbell, but Hunter Steele's contact puts Ewan Gillis back on the line.
And for McLeod's breakaway there, it was a good way to affect the play from Arsenal, not being able to foul, not getting a full block, but just really affecting that play.
You're going to hear those footsteps coming behind you.
It's intimidating.
Ewan Gillis stays perfect from the line. Arsenal keeps, dumps it off. Holland finds Arsenal, who's backing down his defender. Steele's on the outside. Swatted from behind, fighting for the loose ball. Steele finds Arsenal, 4 on the shot clock. PEI teammates counting it out. No shot, we've got a travel. And substitutions for PEI. Moses Collins checks back into the game. Hunter Steele to the bench.
Well, Steele did a great job there fighting on the ground for the ball. Some situations like that usually in the jump ball, but he was so quick with it and dishing it out. But yeah, like we've been saying, Moses Collins, he's done a great job on defense as well. So them two kind of switching back and forth. I like that move.
Josiah Johnson goes for the scoop. Was a little out of position and it hit underside of the rim. Collins tucks the ball, turns, kicks it to the corner. Knickel's ready to shoot. Bottom.
It's a great play right there, finding the open man, and a little more ball movement like that from PEI, and they could really start to close this gap before the second.
McLeod inside, floater is good. Woody working down the left-hand side. Looking inside to Holland. Was picked up by McLeod. McLeod lives for those assignments, and McCray comes away with the steal. Brothers can't handle the bounce pass. So the 3-on-2 for Nova Scotia comes up empty. We're talking about the assignment that McLeod put himself on yesterday, picking up Logan Spack from British Columbia whenever the two were on the court, and the amount of fun that they were having with that level of competition. And although British Columbia won the game, I think it's safe to say McLeod won the one-on-one battle, keeping Spack, relatively quiet.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And with Holland still not sitting on the bench yet, it is looking the same way that he might play all the minutes today. So when you have McLeod guarding him, might tire him out just a little extra more.
Johnson misses the floater. Brothers called for the foul on the reach-in.
Foul on Nova Scotia, number 3. Jesse Brothers, second personal foul. 6:17 foul.
6:17 left, 44-23. Nova Scotia ahead of Prince Edward Island on day 4 with the Canadian National Basketball Championships. JJ Evison and Haley Hopkinson here with you for this game, and then we'll have Newfoundland and Ontario at 3:45 with the game in between, bringing you just the sights and sounds from the gymnasium. It's a 5-on-4 for Nova Scotia, and they come away with the offensive rebound. McLeod with his 7th of the game. Correction, he's got 7 assists and 5 rebounds now. Here's Knickel into the front court. Johnson gets a fingertip on it to alter the trajectory. McLeod to the mid-range, the floater, gets the roll in and then out. That was 90% of the way down the basket.
Well, PEI on the defense absolutely needs to step it up. Like you were saying, that 5-on-4 there, Noah Whitty needs to put a little more hustle in the defensive pressure here.
Whitty topside steps in to the left, fading. That shot's off the mark. Cadence McLeod going to slow it over. The timeline is there's 5 Nova Scotia players ready to check into the game. We call that a hockey substitution. Brothers gets inside and floats it over Arsenal for 2. Knickel kicks it to Collins. In and out off the glass and down the hole.
He's done a great job for PEI so far, giving them pretty much all the hope, I'd say, in this game with defense and offense.
McCray doesn't hesitate. That one's off the mark. Knickel with the rebound, quickly ahead to Collins. Collins closed in on by 4 white jerseys, so he resets at the top. There's Holland on the dive. What a find by Arsenal.
That's a great cut right there. And
timeout on the floor. Nova Scotia going to bring the crew together to discuss what needs to be seen. We'll take a quick break and be right back with more second quarter action. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. For those of you wondering how the tournament format works, the teams have been separated into 3 different pools. Pool A, Ontario, Quebec, Alberta, and British Columbia. Pool B, Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, and PEI. And Pool C, Manitoba, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland. All started the first 2 days playing within their pool. And then on Wednesday, they went to a ranking system based on the first few records. So in Pool A, you were ranked 1 through 4, B and C 1 through C. And there were some cross-seeding games. Of course, 2B playing 3C, 4A playing 1B. Yesterday, Ontario had the bye. Then back to today is going from a win-loss of yesterday into who each team will play moving forward. And same with tomorrow and moving on into the championship games on Saturday. The tournament schedule should be on Canada Basketball's website. If you go to the development tab and national championships, all the information is there. 46-30, 16-point lead now for Nova Scotia. Prince Edward Island looking to close in on that, but Peter Ford, Clark Dolan getting it done from the corner, making that a little bit more difficult.
I absolutely love Nova Scotia's decision today to do 5-person substitutions. It's making sure that PEI never kind of is able to adjust to the offensive strategies. We're seeing two very different styles of play, but it all is working very well together in the two different rotations we're seeing. But it's just going to make it that much more difficult for PEI to adjust in this game.
So the 5 on the floor for Nova Scotia right now: Nolan Yeo, Peter Ford, Clark Dolan, Finian McCormick, and quickly ahead, there's Anthony Waters, the 5th member on the floor for Nova Scotia, laying it in with the left.
He's bringing a different type of intensity to this game. We saw it in his first shift. The defense was very strong, but getting those big offensive plays as well.
Holland looking for a lane. The step through, loses it out of bounds. Yeo to Dolan. Top side, Yeo gets inside. The floater is good as Moses Collins blows by Yeo on the closeout. Gives him a wide open lane to the free throw line. Whitty to the right. To stay in front of him. Knickel travels.
Well, he's got 0 personal fouls so far, so already big step up for Knickel in that way, and definitely keeping the same aggressiveness, but making less errors.
Tate Van Ritchie will come back into the game for Nolan Yeo. Timeout, Prince Edward Island, 52-30.
Oh, Nova Scotia's winning in a lot of battles right now, out rebounding 22-13, have 14 assists on 21 made field goals compared to 7 assists for PEI, 8 steals, and 5 blocks. Turnover battle is they're also winning with 9, still a high number, but PEI with 13 right now.
Seems like Nova Scotia really took that loss to British Columbia heavy yesterday.
Yep.
Wanted to come out and assert some dominance and tell the rest of the teams in this tournament that they are a force to be reckoned with. And it's not just Cadence McLeod, and it's not just Mason McCray or Jesse Brothers or Van Ritchie. It's an up and down lineup, and you've got guys coming in giving you excellent minutes on both sides of the ball. Anthony Waters, like you said, has been exceptional on the defensive side, keeping his feet moving and staying in front of the primary ball handler.
No, absolutely. It felt so many times yesterday that game was within reach. And I think probably what they were talking about was getting off to a better start so that you don't have to be trailing the whole time and just like missing that little edge. And if that was their game plan, they executed it perfectly today. And now it's just about playing how they play to maintain this lead. And as for PEI, it's about finding the extra bursts of energy.
Josiah Johnson and Peter Ford played give and go. Waters accepts it on the near wing. Josiah Johnson for 3. That misses. Rebound Waters. Hounded by Collins. Foul called. Team's 3rd. Waters finds Ford. That's off the mark. Rebound taken and put back by Finian McCormick. So the winner of this game will move on to the 1:30 tip-off tomorrow and take on the loser of the Ontario-Newfoundland game back in the Ontario Tech Gymnasium. And the loser of this game will play tomorrow at 6 p.m. against Saskatchewan. Foul's going to go against McCormick. Team's fourth. They are now out of fouls to give. Waters with the steal, couldn't keep the ball in bounds, but Igor Stepjanovic appreciating the effort from the bench player.
Yeah, he really is giving the extra effort today, and everyone in Nova Scotia, I mean, I think these 5-person substitutions is doing a lot. They're all trying to earn their playing time and prove why, but I think he'll get into a little trouble there. Being a little too handsy against Whitty, but he's just keeping that pressure up as best as he can.
Here's Collins, finds Holland on the near wing. That shot is up, back iron. Rebound Waters. You think Waters is fighting for more minutes here?
I believe so, and I think it's working too. I think the matchup of him and Whitty is getting really intense, and I think that's exactly what Nova Scotia was wanting to do. Yesterday, Whitty did a great job of really managing all the plays, and Walter's just doing a good job of really taking him out of that role.
Inside, outside, paint touch gets perimeter players open. Johnson steps through, looks to dump off to Van Ritchie. It's not there. Knickel into the front court. Holland working with Arsenal. Arsenal dives. He's open. One bounce. Turned over.
Well, yeah,
Nova Scotia come away with another couple of points, and it's a 26-point lead, 10 seconds left. Here's Whitty. Stolen. And at the expiration of the buzzer, that shot's just off to the left. Nova Scotia come out from the first 2 quarters and dominate. At halftime, it's a 26-point deficit. Prince Edward Island looking at a long road to come back, but 20 minutes of basketball and anything can happen. So we'll step aside for the halftime break and be back shortly with more action here from the Durham College Gymnasium. It's the Canadian National Basketball Championships. You're watching on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. About to get back into the action here at the Canadian National Basketball Championships. Nova Scotia ahead 56-30 over Prince Edward Island in the Battle of the Maritimes. JJ Evison and Haley Hopkinson here with you for this game. Then we'll have a game break, and then we will be back for Ontario and Newfoundland and Labrador. The first half was absolutely all Mason McRae. I mean, the first quarter, really.
Yeah.
He is 3 of 5 from distance. He's got 13 points to lead Nova Scotia. Will Holland on the other side leading PEI with 8 points and 3 boards. Cadence McLeod, the early front-runner for the MVP, held limited in the scoring but has 5 boards and 7 assists, being effective as a playmaker. Some changes for the second half. You've asked PEI, Haley, to maybe switch towards that man defense. They're right now in a zone, but what else do you think PEI can do to thwart any further scoring runs from Nova Scotia?
Yeah, well, I think Arsenault and Holland, they've played all minutes in this game so far. So the fact that the two of them are out there, we've seen some glimpses of a pick and roll situation there. So I think seeing some more of that would be really great. But we know that they can score. I just think it's about maybe heightening the intensity a little bit, and I would say a little bit more movement, whether it's their feet or whether it's with the ball on offense. They had a couple stretches where they did a great job of really finding the open man and just that one extra pass that set them apart. But Nova Scotia is doing a pretty difficult man defense, so I think you got to beat them with the ball rather than your feet at this point.
Holland from distance, back iron. Yo with the long rebound. We saw it yesterday, the benefit of following your shots. You get those rebounds. Dolan from the corner falls through. Clark Dolan opens the scoring here in the second half with a 3, 59-30 now for Nova Scotia. Pick and roll thwarted by Dolan. The pass ahead to Yo, kept in. Brothers from distance. That's off the front iron, kept alive by McRae. Yo thought about it, moves it in, kicks it to McRae. He's lethal. Bang. Gives a look back to the coach who tried to get him off his game, and just a little smile there, friendly competitiveness.
I think with the way, especially that Nova Scotia is moving the ball around the perimeter, that they're nearly forcing PEI to play a man defense anyways. So I think just committing to that would do a lot for them. The zone works really great when Nova Scotia is doing a ton of driving, but we didn't see that too much in the first half, and already early into this third quarter, we're not seeing that either.
Arsenault trying to work to the basket. Dolan doing a good job keeping him outside. Holland now to Arsenault. A shot clock violation in a dead silent gymnasium.
That's, those are just the avoidable ones, right?
Didn't hear the fans, didn't hear the bench players, nobody counting down that shot clock. Here's McLeod, inside, fouled, no shot, it'll be on the floor. First team foul against Prince Edward Island.
Yeah, Nova Scotia's just dominating now with the three-point shot, even when we're seeing Clark Dolan, one of their best bigs. He has got a great presence in the paint when he's shooting those threes. And now, yeah, we got McLeod going as well, so.
As a team, 8 of 21 from distance. The pick and roll is good. Arsenault puts the rock to the deck, gets swarmed by 2 white jerseys. It's Holland from the far side. Yo with the rebound, sees a lane, looking to crisscross Arsenault. Arsenault with the block.
That was great to stick with him that whole way there. And Holland does have a great three-point shot. It's just like the slightest bit off, but once those do start to fall, he's getting a ton of really great open looks, so that could be important. So I think he's just got to keep shooting.
Quick inbound. Yo breaks the defense with a single bounce and is alone under. Foul is going to go against Jesse Brothers. His third personal. Here we go again. 5 Nova Scotia players head to the scores table for a check-in at the next available opportunity. Sloan Campbell works to the left. Acrobatic finish through contact from Cadence McLeod. And Campbell will go to the free throw line for the and one opportunity.
That was great. He definitely did have the opportunity there to dish it out to 2 PEI players around the perimeter, but he had the strong take, he felt confident in it, and ended up working out in his favor. And also, if PEI, only 7 minutes here, third team foul, if they can get Nova Scotia into some foul trouble, they could definitely take advantage of that. Right now, PEI is 7 for 8 from the free throw line, so they've gotten a bunch more opportunities with Nova Scotia only having 3 free throws attempts.
Stowe finds Johnson on the dive. Back to Stowe. That one blocked by Knickel. Campbell couldn't keep it inbound. Waters to trigger. Van Ritchie calling for it. Instead they go to the top side. Johnson keeps the dribble alive. Back to Waters. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Waters takes and passes to the PEI bench.
All right, well, little errors like that, this is time for PEI to really start to capitalize on those, and we're seeing more players stay a little bit closer rather than just the one inbounder.
Whitty gets around Waters into the paint, elevates. The mid-range off the mark. Fighting for the rebound comes to Johnson. Johnson surveys the floor, makes it over the timeline. The double team comes, Stowe's alone. Waters has it in the corner. Here's Gillis off the mark. Van Ritchie blocked by Arsenal. Waters finds Gillis, who steps through. Foul called. And that'll be Owen Arsenal on the foul. Gillis makes a single. Loose ball. Josiah Johnson looking at his right knee. He also took a hip to the face. He'll stretch that out. Prince Edward Island have possession on the side. Whitty hands it off to Knickel. Behind the back, into the lane. Foul's called on the way up. David Knickel back to the free throw line. And that's Nova Scotia out of fouls to give. So for the remaining 5:54, any sort of contact will result in Prince Edward Island free throws.
I think taking advantage of that's going to be key here. Nova Scotia, I mean, both of these teams, when there is a drive to the paint, they tend to collapse a lot. And with so many bodies, a strong take from PEI could for sure get them some contact. And it's a great way to start to claw their way back into this a little bit here.
The miss on the second, rebound collected by Gillis. Into the corners, Waters has a heel out of bounds. So another turnover here for Nova Scotia. Whitty trying to shake Waters. And he to the free throw line goes Noah Whitty.
Well, that's perfect right there. They are definitely starting to recognize that they just really need that strong take. I mean, especially just to get some confidence back up here to close this gap a little bit.
One possession at a time. Plenty of basketball left to be played. 15:39 in regulation, 5:39 here in the third quarter as Whitty goes for a chance at two and sinks them both. Stowe attacks, elevates, leaves it short, looking for his own rebound. Believe that was going to be Nova Scotia basketball, and then Ewan Gillis just dribbled it before it touched the out-of-bounds area.
Yeah, a little extra communication on plays like that would save some unnecessary turnovers.
Arsenal to Holland now. Whitty trying to shake Waters, does. Gets immediately picked up by Gillis. Works into the paint, kicks to the corner. Campbell back to Whitty. Dials it from deep. That's back iron. Knickel fighting for the loose ball, able to save it to Holland, who does not hesitate on the reload. Waters with the rebound on the miss.
Couldn't make the basket there, but that was much better ball movement from PEI and definitely looking for the extra passes.
Arsenal with the rejection on the take from Josiah Johnson. Baseline out of bounds, Nova Scotia will be Liam Stowe to trigger. Johnson left alone. Noah Whitty picks up his third personal on the hold. Here's Waters going cross court. Holland gets a fingertip on it, but Gillis able to keep it alive to Stowe. 6 on the shot clock. Stowe works left. Gives it up to Gillis. Got a toe on the line. It's a deep 2. Whitty gets double teamed, so he kicks it back out to Arsenal and tries to muscle his way in. Ball knocked loose. It's going to stay with Prince Edward Island. 71-36, 4:18 left to go in the third quarter. A pair of substitutions for Nova Scotia. Into the game, Finian McCormick and Peter Ford. Campbell to Whitty top side. Front iron off the glass into the hands of Stowe, who finds Waters, takes it up strong with the left and finishes through a shade of contact.
Yeah, Arsenal doing a good job of having presence there. That shot was just a little too much.
Josiah Johnson rejects that attempt by Whitty. Waters dumps it off to Stowe. He lets one blow by and gets rejected by Campbell. Knickel, open lane, finds Campbell. Back inside, mid-range floater, contact there. 2 shots upcoming.
Well, that was a great strong take there, and it looked like Knickel lost the handle on the dribble for a second there, but was still able to get it back out to Campbell, and Campbell's had some really strong takes in this one.
Campbell at the line for a pair. It's an empty trip, but Arsenal grabs the rebound and puts it back for 2, plus the foul on Peter Ford.
You know, Holland and Arsenal haven't done too much work down in the paint this game, at least not when starting off these plays. They've been, especially Arsenal, at the top of the three-point line, so maybe getting him down there a little bit more, fighting for those rebounds and the second chance opportunities could end up in some more potential three-point plays like this one.
Prince Edward Island definitely have the advantage of the players on the court right now. Back in that zone. Nova Scotia going to find Johnson. Pass too hot to handle. Arsenal quickly gives it up to Campbell. And again, another 5-out offense for PEI. Whitty takes the handoff, works left. Hounded by Waters, tucks it like a football. The floater no good, gets his own rebound. Second chance, doesn't fall. And Noah Whitty can't buy a basket right now. Stowe, catch and shoot is pure.
So McCormick right now, acting as their center, is only 6'2", and you look at Owen Arsenault, who's 6'6", and Will Holland, who's 6'3", so you're so right, they do really have the major size right there. And I mean, there you go. Drives to the basket like that, but I think there are also some passes into the paint I think could be something worth looking at, especially for Arsenault. He's got a good build. He's able to use his body to create extra space for himself.
Cruz Bevan checking into the game for Prince Edward Island. Jason Shee at the scores table, likely waiting for Owen Arsenault to finish his free throw attempts. The first is good.
Well, yesterday when Cruz Bevan came in, I believe the first thing he did was hit a three, so I'm sure they're hoping for some extra shooting coming from him right away as well today.
Miss on the second is tracked down by Holland. They find Arsenault inside. Good footwork. Overcooked it. Brothers with the rebound. Double teamed in the corner. He gives it up to McCormick. Brothers takes it back. Waters has a shooter in the corner. Good closeout. Waters from distance. Back iron and bottom. 10 of 25 from the three-point line is Nova Scotia. Whitty underneath the basket. Blocked by Brothers. It's a 5-on-4. Ahead to McCormick, who can't corral the pass. And in comes Jason Shee. Out goes Arsenault.
Oh, he's 6'4", so he still does have the height advantage here against any Nova Scotia player on the floor. So we'll see if maybe he has a different approach to kind of getting into this Nova Scotia defense than Arsenault did.
Noah Whitty was just baited into committing a technical foul by Anthony Waters. Couldn't hear what was said from up here, but the MO of Nova Scotia right now is to get into the head of Noah Whitty, it seems.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially with the big grin on Waters' face, looking a little successful in a little side mission he had there.
It doesn't get talked about enough, the mental side of the game, having to stay composed and how tough that is at an age where you're still learning how to deal with the emotions on the court.
Especially when both these teams traveling here to Ontario, and you see Nova Scotia, both teams having a good show out, but we've seen Nova Scotia on both sides for men and women. Their fans with the big flags running back and forth along the baseline. So regardless if they're both visitors here, PEI definitely does not feel like the home team.
Knickel drags that pivot foot. Gives it right back to Nova Scotia, who have a 39-point lead, 1:47 left in the third quarter. Brothers from distance, nothing but nylon there, and now Brothers gets charged with a technical foul for the celebration of the three. Turned right to the defender who blew by. And
and I'll learn that lesson by heading to the bench there.
Immediately pulled from the game. Kind of like the penalty box, go sit down and think about what you've done. And Noah Whitty misses the free throw. Not the type of performance we've seen from Whitty throughout this contest.
No, I do think the frustration could be getting a little bit of the best of him today. Especially, this is a more difficult matchup since they have played each other. And, of course, just the jump from day to day and how these teams are growing and developing over the course of nationals, it's a lot. So maybe expectations aren't what they thought they were going to be coming into this game. And, of course, you can never forget about the way that McRae started this game off and how that might have affected the mentality of PEI.
Whitty dials it from deep. That one off the side iron. She's there to collect the loose change. Can't get the second opportunity to go. Holland finds Whitty again. He gets Waters to blow by, steps back, and that one goes through and out breathes a sigh of relief.
Yep, that's 7 points for him. I mean, he's played this in almost this entire game, but right now he's sitting in a little bit of foul trouble with 4.
Josiah Johnson with the nice little mid-range floater. 45 to go in the third quarter. Knickel works towards the middle of the floor. That ball dribbled off of Gillis's foot and out of bounds. Carter Arsenal checking into the game for Will Holland now.
It's Holland's first time on the bench in this game. I mean, he really does do a great job of never getting into too much foul trouble, always staying composed on that court. He's kind of like the constant thing that's on the court for PEI.
Bevan works to the middle of the floor. Whitty fading. Back iron into the hands of McCormick. He finds Johnson in transition. Back to McCormick, one bounce underneath. Gillis sees it through. Good ball movement from Nova Scotia, who continue to hunt. 86 points at the end of the third quarter for the team in white. Offensively, very difficult to stop. Whitty chucks one up, in and out, and that shot has been kind of the epitome of Whitty's offensive game today, just unable to get anything to fall. He's got to stay with it here through the final 10 minutes. 86-43, Nova Scotia ahead. We'll step aside for the quarter break and be back with fourth quarter action here from the Durham College Gymnasium. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships live on Canada Basketball's YouTube page. Nova Scotia basketball up 86-43, 10 minutes on the clock here in the fourth quarter. Coming up next, we'll have the sights and sounds from this gymnasium as Quebec take on New Brunswick, and then Haley and I will be back on the call at 3:45 for Ontario, Newfoundland. Cross-court pass, McCormick. Off the front of the iron, Johnson with the offensive rebound. Didn't have the shot, so he gives it up. Gets it back on the perimeter. It's a double team. He finds Gillis. Blocked at the top by Arsenal.
Well, I think as this game gets a little more out of reach here for PEI, one of the main things that they can really focus on and grow here is their defense. And I think Arsenal leading that charge is going to be a big point of growth in this fourth quarter.
Waters with the step through, blows the bunny. Collins settles it down with Arsenal. Shimmy shake, Collins, step through, Arsenal. Had all sorts of daylight to shoot the three. Finds Whitty on the far wing, he gives it up. Carter Arsenal couldn't complete it. Here's McCormick with a runway. Lays it in with the right hand despite the best efforts of Moses Collins. Holland looks for the dive, It's not there. Waters steals the ball. Finds Johnson. Johnson to the lane, floats it up. Doesn't go fighting for the rebound. Collins has it. And finds Noah Whitty. Back cut, Holland, good find, Arsenal.
That was a great finish there. Looked like he was very much past the basket. A little back bend and got a good angle of it. It's impressive.
Ford and Waters go side to side. McCormick finds Ford on the wing. Relocating was Gillis. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Ford has to shoot it, does, and is fouled by Carter Arsenal on the shot attempt. 3 upcoming free throws for number 12 in white.
PEI's done a good job of not sending Nova Scotia to the line too many times. Only 6 shot attempts from there. They're 5 for 6 right now.
They're going to stay on the floor, not in the act. And into the game is Jake DeVry Paparoni. Foul on Moses Collins, team second.
It's always going to be those little reach-ins that if you go in with that aggression and the ref is that close, even if they hear it a little bit, it's going to be called.
Johnson keeps, then dishes to Ford. Dials it from deep, this time off the iron into the hands of Holland. Whitty over the timeline. Collins working baseline, coughs it up, but it falls into the hands of DeVry Paparoni. He finds Holland on the perimeter near iron. Waters snatches the board. McCormick back to Waters. 3 is up off the iron into the hands of DeVry Paparoni. PEI will swing it to Arsenal, who works into the key and is blocked on the backside by Tate Van Ritchie. Limited minutes in this game for Van Ritchie, who was arguably the best player the first time these two sides met, with 23 points and 14 boards.
Absolutely.
He comes in, doesn't matter the time and score, he's going to give you the effort.
Yeah, and honestly, with the way that PEI's offense has been running with 5 out, they don't need the massive presence in the middle. The smaller guards are doing a great job of rebounding themselves. I mean, Nova Scotia's out rebounding PEI 49-26, so the big presence honestly wasn't even needed too much, and against some other matchups, he will definitely be one of the most important players on the court, so a little bit more rest time for him today.
Another rebound for Paparoni. Finds Whitty, who's going to work on Johnson. Arsenal dives. Nothing's there, so Whitty keeps, now gives it up. Arsenal working on Van Ritchie, back out to Whitty. He dials it from deep, in and out. Again, Van Ritchie with the rebound. Waters turns on the Jets like he's running the 100-meter dash. Out to Ford, who doesn't hit the 3. 88-45, 5:50 left in the fourth quarter. Holland overcooked it. Waters to McCormick into the corner. Ford tries his hand at another 3. McCormick relocates to get the rebound, and Waters, the beneficiary of the second chance opportunity.
Waters up to 11 points now, and this is definitely the strongest performance we've seen from him. He's got 9 rebounds, so we'll keep a lookout for a double-double watch here.
Got a steal. Picks it up, takes, dumps it off. Ford sees it through.
And there it is.
Jonah Lawler hounded near the sideline. Ball gets knocked out of bounds. And Lawler will trigger the inbound play for PEI. Waters staying up tight to Whitty. Staying walled up, giving him nothing. He fades, nothing there. Shot clock buzz. Nova Scotia have the ball quickly into the front court. Ford picked up by Lawler. Johnson into the paint. Floater no good. Van Ritchie can't put away the second chance opportunity. Ford attacks the paint, kicks to the quarter. McCormick for three. Front iron and into the hands of Paparoni. 4 rebounds off the bench here in the fourth quarter for Paparoni. Arsenal looking for Whitty like he does. Whitty takes the handoff, gives it back to Arsenal on the double team. The dive to Holland and no one home.
The chemistry between those two is really great. We haven't seen it too much, but those are two of the guys who probably move the most off the ball on the court. So, yeah, they work really well together. But, yeah, Nova Scotia just having a really great shooting performance today as well. And Waters, I think this is definitely his biggest game, and he's taken a massive step up at Nationals, now having 11 points, 11 rebounds, so double-double for him.
Off the mark. Gillis with the rebound. Here's Waters now. McCormick from distance, in and out. And another offensive rebound for Nova Scotia. This time it's Ford. Johnson, outside, inside, too strong. Second chance is good for Gillis. Nova Scotia worked themselves up to 94. 3 minutes remaining. The offense hasn't stopped since Mason McCray went 3 for 3 in the first few minutes from beyond the arc for Nova Scotia. Blocked by Gillis with contact on the way up. Holland will head to the free throw line. Johnson looking for the dump off to Gillis. Out of bounds, PEI ball. Whitty wants the side cleared out. Going to work with Arsenal in the two-man game. He gets left alone, so he doesn't hesitate. Back iron, Arsenal rebound. Whitty relocates, tries to go baseline. Arsenal now inside. Holland. Johnson blows by. Holland keeps, but there to deflect it was Peter Ford. Waters settles it down, tries to dribble through traffic, ends up drawing a foul.
Well, for Nova Scotia, I think today what I think was the most important part of their game, of course you can say it was Mason McCray's 3 three-pointers early on, but I think the 5-man substitutions really showed off a lot of what the guys on the bench can do. Without that, I don't think we would have seen such a dominant performance from Waters. And it wasn't the exact same 5-man rotation either. During the quarters, they would switch it up a little bit. And I think before we get into the semifinals and the final round of nationals here, it's important to have that little element of experimental, and they did it right from the start, and it worked for them. I think it was a great move by their coach.
Under 2 minutes to go, and Coach Whitty of PEI clears his bench. Steele, Bevan, Shee, all into the game.
Well, Shee had a couple really great minutes when he was in, being a big presence in the paint, getting a few rebounds, some second chance opportunities as well.
Waters adds to his total. He's got 14 points to go with 11 boards. Steele weaving through traffic, Waters, another loose ball collected. Gets the pass to McCormick, who sees it through.
McCormick's done a great job staying disciplined. He's been playing with 4 fouls for this entire. Doing a good job of maybe helping it a little more on the offensive part of the game.
Bevan hands it off to Steele. Carter Arsenal. Back to Bevan. 3 on the shot clock from the elbow. She jumping for the rebound. It's saved by Jonah Lawler. She dumps it off to Arsenal. Back to the basket. Turns to the left. No good. Waters another rebound. This Nova Scotia squad will improve to 3-1. 101 on the board. They're going to let the shot clock expire here. PEI will have to get a shot off, as there will be 26.5 left in the game. Arsenal finds Bevan on the far side. Bevan attacks, elevates. No good. Second chance, loose ball. Out of bounds. It's going to stay Prince Edward Island ball. Quebec and New Brunswick tip off from the gymnasium here at 1:30 p.m. We'll have the sights and sounds for that game. And then at 3:45, Ontario, the top seed in Pool A, will take on Newfoundland and Labrador. As this one comes to a close, Nova Scotia win it 101-49, a dominant 4-quarter performance.
I think Nova Scotia really showed their depth in this matchup. I think recognizing that still rather early in nationals is a really big strength for them. And PEI, we know they have the offense. It was clearly not the greatest shooting night for them. They got down on themselves pretty early, but working on that defense, I think we know they have it in them. They've got some dominant players on this squad, and that defense, I think, will be a focus of their next practice, and I'm sure they'll be able to come back out swinging.
Well, we're going to take a couple game break and be back at 3:45. In the meantime, enjoy your afternoon. Enjoy the basketball on display here in the Durham region. You're watching the Canadian National Basketball Championships live on Canada Basketball's YouTube page.